Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. So it's only 9 hours at the time I'm recording this until the league start in the Ultimatum League, and because GGG put out a whole lot of information to help people with slower computers upgrade their client over the intervening period, this has caused all of the game files for Ultimatum to be data mined. GGG do hide some information in ways that data miners can't find it, but this has caused leaks of all the new divination cards amongst a bunch of other things. So let's quickly go through some of the things that have been found, and I want to just showcase some of these items. Just fair warning, artwork hasn't been able to be data mined, so you're going to be looking at a lot of ugly looking text screens because that's what we've got at the moment. In addition, GGG protect the stats of unique items. Until the item is found in game, its stats won't be available to be data mined. So you have a divination card called A Modest Request. This is for the unique cluster jewel Megalomaniac, which is a drop that comes from the Simulacrum, and it's the medium cluster jewel unique that has one burnt socket, and so one socket that provides nothing, and has 3 sockets that provide completely random cluster jewel notables. Megalomaniacs are generally weak, but they can be very strong, very, very strong. I would see turning in a set of the Modest Request as being a little bit of a lotto ticket that you're purchasing. Most Megalomaniacs will be trash, and you'll have just sacrificed your whatever you've spent on the Modest Requests. But a good percentage of them will sell for an Exile or two, and a tiny percentage of them will be irreplaceable power items. So I really think this will be fun to turn in, although don't do it if you're variance averse. We have the Accelerating Catalyst, which is sort of known about, quality for speed, mods on rings, amulets, and belts. Very, very, very powerful in conjunction with cooldown reduction mods. Apothecary's Gloves are newly found. These are an Atlas base, so they'll drop with the same mechanics as something like two-tone boots, and they're 14 to 18% increased damage over time. So quite strong. I think these will be used by multiple builds. Artillery Quiver is very niche, but very good in its niche. If you are playing a ballista character, then you are using Artillery Quiver. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. On the flip side, if you are not playing a build that's using ballistas, as 99.9% of players won't, then this is a useless drop for you. I think that these will be something that the very best Artillery Quiver drops will be item level 86 ones, undoubtedly, and they will be somewhat prized because they're perfect for someone. Blessed Boots are interesting. Very simple mirror of the two-tone boots. So 7 to 13% chaos resistance as an implicit on an item that people don't tend to corrupt very often. So for that reason, I think these are going to be pretty good. I'm going to skip over the incubators and a couple of other things, the scarabs and the like. Broken Promises is next. This is a cool divination card. Ultra high variance. So this is going to give you a ring. Now, it is a diamond ring. That only matters for the art. This is a ring that will have lost the diamond ring implicit and had it replaced by 2 random synthesis implicits. These synthesis implicits vary tremendously in power. Most of them are bad, but a small percentage of them are extraordinarily good. And being item level 87, this can roll all of them. So most people that turn in Broken Promises will end up with Heartbreak, but some of you will turn them in and get a +1 Power Charges ring, or something equally crazy. Once you've got that, you can then go and craft it and come out with something completely ridiculous. So I think that these will be really, really good. And this is a sort of divination card that could hold quite some value. Really interested in finding out where this drops from. If it's somewhat farmable, then it's something I'd be interested in farming. So next up is a divination card for a divination card. Brush, Paint, and Palette is a divination card for the artist. The artist is a set of 11 for a level 4 corrupted enhanced support. So Brush, Paint, and Palette is essentially 55 cards to get yourself a level 4 enhance. I expect that the Brush, Paint, and Palette will be quite a bit easier to find than the artist, which is a pretty rare drop. And additionally, it's something that solo self-found players that are very determined can probably target farm. So I think this is something that in a trade league, players probably won't really care that much about. It might be a couple of chaos if you get it, but it's not going to be a jackpot drop. But in SSF, someone will be absolutely determined, and they'll go, you know what? I am going to complete a set of this because I want to use an enhance. I'll skip Chronicle of Atsuatl. It's the item that you get when you turn a Temple of Atsuatl into a map. They will be really useful though. Deadly Joy is a power item from a divination card. Torrent's Reclamation would be the best belt in the game, except that Headhunter exists. And also, unlike Headhunter, it works really well on heavy bossing as well. Torrent's Reclamation is the belt that comes from Harbinger content, and it's the upgraded version of it. And it provides speed buffs, while just generally being good stats all around. So, the thing that's notable about Torrent's Reclamation, the weakest part of it is the fact that it is a cloth belt, and cloth belts have a terrible implicit. So what we're going to do about that, of course, is we're going to 2 implicit corrupt it. Belts have incredible Val implicits, all of these aura effect mods and things like that. So this is going to be really good. Now, a very important point with Deadly Joy. When you turn it in, the character level you turn it in on matters. You can turn it in on any character that's level 80 or above, and the Torrent's Reclamation you're awarded with will be an item level 80 Torrent's Reclamation. If you turn it in, though, on a character that's level 45 to 59, that will preclude certain corruption outcomes from dropping. Those corruption outcomes require a level 60 or higher item. Whilst level 60 corrupts are actually pretty good, it's the level 45 ones that are the best, and so I think some people will deliberately level a second character to 45, between 45 and 59, in order to turn in Deadly Joys. It's up to you whether you do that or whether you turn them in with your level 60 character. But the corruption pool is very, very deep as well on belts. There are a lot of good rolls. So this is going to be something that you're pretty much guaranteed to get 2 good rolls on it. Grasping Mail is next. We need to talk about this. This is a new item base that perplexed me at first. I was thinking, why have they made Status Guard but worse? But Grasping Mail has its own mod pool. And we'll have to look at that. We don't know how to get these. We don't know where they drop, but we do know what they do, and they look interesting. So we'll come back to them last. Eyelight Ring. This is an opal ring, except for chaos damage. Quite good. Luminous Trove is the next one. Now, I want to talk about this quickly because there's something missing from this card. The Voices unique item is a cluster jewel, large cluster jewel that drops from the Simulacrum. It's very unusual drop mechanics. People have datamined its drop rate, and it has 4 different versions that can drop. There's a much weaker version with 7 empty sockets, a stronger version with 5 empty sockets, a far stronger version with 3 empty sockets, and a perfect version with 1 empty socket. It is widely believed, and I personally believe these numbers, these come from data mining the game files, I'm just not sure that they're exactly right, but I do believe them, that per 200 voices that drop, 130 of them are 7 burn sockets, 64 of them are 5 burn sockets, only 5 of them have 3 burnt sockets, and only 1 has 1 burnt socket. So you can see that there's a massive variance in the rarity of them. And also the desirability. And this is why a 1 burnt socket voice can be more than a Mirror of Kalandra in a trade league. However, the way that Voices enforces this is by the fact that it always drops corrupted. And that means that you can't apply a Divine Orb on it to change the mod that governs how many burnt sockets it has. The Luminous Trove Divination card does not appear to say that it is corrupted. And Divination cards that grant a corrupted item will normally say that this Divination card itself is corrupted. So I'm kind of curious how that works. It's possible that there's a bug there that someone will exploit really early and then GGG will fix later. And it's also possible that the data mining doesn't say corrupted, but the actual game will. However, this is going to be fun to turn in. I'm assuming that there's not going to be some bug that gives you an uncorrupted voice as you can divine. I'm assuming that you will just get a voice, that you'll get a voices that's corrupted as normal, and that will respect the normal drop weighting of these 4 versions. So with that in mind, this is actually going to be worth a surprising amount per set. If we go by the prices that voices were worth in the last league, 1 burnt socket ones were about 600 exalts most of the league, 3 burned were about 200 exalts. So the 1 in 200 chance to get a 600 exalt item is worth 3 exalts. The 5 in 200, so 1 in 40 chance to get a 200 exalt item is worth another 5 exalts. So you're actually looking at a divination card that should be more than 1 exalt per card, even though it doesn't look like it. and I think you might find some cunning market type players will buy these up when they're available for less than an Exalt, and just see them as a high risk but high EV gamble. Next up, we have the Morphing Incubator. Oh, sorry, the Incubators we're skipping. The Noxious Catalyst is what we were looking for. Physical and Chaos damage modifiers. That's looking really good on things like an Iolite Ring. Looks like it'd be really solid there. Prejudice is next. I believe that what this does is it gives you any unique item that could be created by a Chance Orb, but it will be on an influence base. That's my reading of the Divination card. However, there's other people that say that they believe that this Divination card will give you one of the boss drops, so Shaper, Elder, or Uber Elder drops that always are influenced. So something like Voidwalker if you're unlucky, Indigon if you're lucky. They may well be right. I don't know which of these it is, but those are the possibilities that come to mind. Either way, I think this Divination card will be exciting to turn in, but if I'm correct, and it is a random unique just that happens to be influenced, it will be quite disappointing to turn in most of the time. But hey, disappointing can be fun if there's a chance of it being good. Somebody's Wisdom is a very basic one. More June missions, always useful. Sea Glass Amulet, faster start of energy shield recharge is something that I think you're not getting enough of it for it to be worthwhile. But I'm open to being proven wrong. I don't see a compelling reason to use this over a different type of amulet. The Adventuring Spirit and the Enthusiast come next. Both are for Victaria's influence. One is a nice clean Victaria's influence. The other one is 2 implicit Crangled. In a trade league, I think that the Adventuring Spirit is going to be hotly demanded on day one, and then at that point, Victaria's influence just isn't that rare an item, so people will have enough of them. But the 2 implicit Corrupted one will be popular all of the league. So this is going to be an interesting thing where people will start out with Adventuring Spirit, then upgrade potentially, and so there'll be lots of this powerful unique item entering the economy from these cards. The Card Sharp is for a Divination Scarab. I ultimately think of this as just basically as being a currency drop. When you get it, I don't know where it's going to drop. I do think it's going to drop from somewhere, though, that you can't use Divination Scarabs on. So I don't think this is going to be something that you will get from any content on the Atlas of Worlds, because if it was on the Atlas of Worlds, you would reach a point where someone would find a way to generate more Divination Scarabs per map, than they're expending by using Divination Scarabs on this map. So for that reason, I think it'll be something like, maybe it's in Delve, maybe it's in Heist or something like that, somewhere that you can't augment your maps with Divination Scarabs. Next up is the Eternal War. Very high variance Divination card that'll be a lot of fun. Timeless Jewels are not something people tend to corrupt very often, and implicit corruptions on Jewels are hit and miss, but when they hit hard. Minus 1% mana reservation, one of the most broken stats in the game. Corrupting Blood can't be inflicted on you. Incredibly powerful. So there are 2 mods that are incredible. Essentially, because you can't divine a corrupted item, this means that if you want, say, a Doriani-themed Val jewel, so a Glorious Vanity, you actually have only a 1 in 15 chance to hit it with the Eternal War. Whereas if you turn in the Peaceful Moments Divination card, which gives you a completely random Timeless Jewel, then you would have a 1 in, then as long as you've got enough Divine Orbs, you'd have a 1 in 5 chance of getting Glorious Vanity. So for that reason, it's much higher variance. I think this is the sort of Divination card very similar to the one that I created, the Price of Loyalty, where because there's so much variance in, it creates a lot of powerful items, of which most of them have some use case. People are going to want to buy the ones that have got the right use for them, and so there will be a market spot for shrewd traders to buy a lot of copies of this Divination card, turn them in, and just sit on the jewel until they've got the perfect jewel for someone, and then sell it at quite a high price later on. The Hook is next. Random Unique Watchstone. We don't know the weighting of this, and so that's going to decide whether it's good or not. Misinformation is a particularly great Unique Watchstone, and it's something that is very, very scarce. And so, if this adds more misinformations into the league economy, I'll be happy with that. The Shortcut is very simple. It's a set of 1. You'll notice that there's no number on the card. That's the way that they appear when there's a set of 1. And it's just a Quicksilver Flask of Adrenaline. Very simple, Very, very useful item. This is the sort of thing that if you get it very early in a league is going to feel amazing because you can then whack another mod on it as well and really just sort of turbocharge through the axe. In terms of where this might drop, the only spot in the game that feels genuinely like a shortcut to me is the portals in the labyrinth, which come up sometimes when you use a dark shrine. Who knows? Maybe this will drop every time you get that dark shrine result. We're just gonna have to find that out. Unstable Catalyst is critical mods, very powerful, very simple. Vile Reliquary Key I've spoken about before, just basically a super high gamble. Veil Chaos Orbs, these will be better than people give them credit for. I think they're looking really solid. And then we have Winter's Embrace as the last one. Circle of Fear is the synthesis ring that is the cold damage related and Herald of Ice. So this is a ring that has powerful buffs for Herald of Ice, and it's 3 implicit synthesized. This could be very good. This could grant some very, very powerful rings to people. The thing with Winter's Embrace is that there are 10 different versions of this item. There are 5 different mods that Winter's Embrace can have, and it will have 2 of them. Of these, 2 of them increase your elemental resistances, your cold resist while you're under the effect of Herald of Ice. These are broadly considered worthless by players, or almost worthless. The third one reduces the mana reservation of Herald of Ice. This is considered desirable but not extraordinary. And the other 2 increase your cold damage while you're under the effect of Herald of Ice. So one of them is a percentage increase to cold damage. The other one increases the buff effect of Herald of Ice, so making Herald of Ice function like it was a higher gem level. If you can you have a 1 in 10 chance on Circle of Fear of getting the best combination of the 2 of them, which is the 2 damage rolls. You have a 2 in 10 chance of getting one of those 2 mods plus the still desirable reduced mana reservation of Herald of Ice roll. You then have a 6 in 10 chance of getting one of the 3 good rolls alongside one of the 2 disappointing resistance rolls. And you have a 1 in 10 chance of getting both the bad resistance rolls. So there's a lot of variance there. Additionally, it's 3 implicit synthesized, which means a huge amount of variance again. This is going to be a lot of fun to turn in, but time will tell whether it's good or not. Next up, we have the Grasping Mail, which we've left to last. This is a new base, and I thought Sacrificial Garb has higher numbers than these. Lo and behold, it does. So I was thinking, what on earth is the point of this item? Then I had to look down lower. Then I had to look at the rest of this page and realized there's this tab called Grasping Mail Mods /25. So there are 25 different mods that Grasping Mails can roll. And this looks really interesting. This looks to be almost like its own special influence. So this is a crafting base that doesn't look very powerful on its own, but it can roll all of these additional mods. There is a very wide variety of potential mods here. Some of them are very strong, such as 1% increased attack speed per 25 dexterity, or the 1 to 5 lightning damage for each shocked enemy you've killed recently mod that I think is found on Escher's Visage. Very solid item, and a shield that was compelling for a long time to use just for that mod mostly. On the flip side, some of them are less powerful, but overall, I think there's just a lot of potential for this to roll really silly items, and I'm assuming that this can roll all of the normal mods that a Sacrificial Garb could roll, plus also these mods with these rarity weightings. None of them are super rare, and I don't see any reason that you couldn't influence a Grasping Mail as well, although I can't confirm that you can. So this just looks like an interesting little crafting puzzle of a new base that I'll be keen to see what people can do with. Anyways, I will put a link to the POEDB site because this is far from all of the information that's in there. If you want to have a look at the Ultimatum League challenges, you can do that, including the Complete Deadly Encounters, which looks a little bit terrifying this league. Complete the Maven's Invitation, the Feared, while that invite has monsters have 100% increased area of effect. That's going to be the most terrifying encounter the game has ever seen. So that's other things you can look up, but all of this is on the website POEDB, and I will put a link to that in the description below. Anyways, if you've got any comments or questions, fire away. Otherwise, I hope you have a good one.